Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for watching this video. Like and subscribe.
Remember Lost.
From is a show. That is confirmed, because it is too stupid and one-dimensional to be a movie or a book. Not that it couldn't have been a movie, because the spooky pit stop / town from hell is a plentiful trope found in everything from The Village to Identity to Bad Times at the El Royale, and that's not even taking into account the battalion of Stephen King stories that take place in a spooky town, or a spooky store, or a spooky airport cut off from civilization with a bunch of diverse and potentially annoying characters.
I don't want my job. What? I don't want my job, and I don't want my life. Since I was 5 years old, you've been loading on the pressure, seeing if you could make me explode. Well, I am going to explode, Father, and I don't give a damn. You know what I did? I bought $43 million worth of bonds I knew were total garbage. You did what? I burst on a target on my own head. I went out. I went out. Get a hold of yourself.
But whereas those things are good, not you. Not you. From is bad. Remember when M. Night Shyamalan did the same thing in a similarly spooky town with weird spooky rules beset by weirder spooky monsters with only enough money to hire one D-list celebrity as its main character / reluctant sheriff? Even that show was more interesting than From, but it got canceled, so now From is better because From is on right now and isn't old. Watch From! But how did we get here, and what's all this got to do with Lost? And where the fuck is Lost anyway? I mean, at this point, they've even rebooted motherfucking Quantum Leap.
I'm rebooted.
Sadly, in one of the cruelest Ouroboros effects of all time, Lost's very success is the exact reason why the show hasn't been rebooted yet. Because hacky dum-dums have been rebooting Lost every single fucking year from 2004 until now. Allow me to introduce to you a world full of lifeless, cancelled mystery boxes. The Lost Knockoff Extended Universe, or the LKEU, like leukemia.
Simba, remember Lost?
Well, so did every TV bigwig hack shill doo-doo brain TV exec on every single network across every single platform from now until forever. And instead of trying to expand on a show that had limitless potential for lore by just buying the Lost IP, the butt nuggets in charge of these different studios decided to try to do one better, or worse, by simply making their own Lost. Don't want to pay millions of dollars to buy an IP like a cheap hooker? Are you afraid you'll be tarred and feathered by the Lost fanbase for destroying their precious mythology, just like Daddy Damon was? You're too good for us, Daddy Damon. We love you, Daddy Damon. Well, let's just make a new Lost then. Surely you can fit 2 lightnings in one bottle. Wrong. The problem with the LKEU is that the creators of each individual knockoff all seemingly made the same mistake. And that was ironically the same mistake that JJ would later make with his cursed Star Wars trilogy. Incorrect extrapolation of what made the original property great, and trying to cover your tracks with member Milkies. Since it ended, it's been generally accepted that Lost achieved 2 main goals: the introduction of a complex mystery box, and characters compelling enough to carry that mystery to its fraught and bizarre explanations. What the knockoff EU seems to miss every time is that we have to care about these fucking people enough that if the mystery turns out to be nothing more than a puff of smoke, at least we have the friends we made along the way. But when it comes to the Einsteins behind the LKEU, most of these shows not only set up mystery boxes far beyond their means, but instead of introducing new characters that you learn to love, they literally just give you actors who played characters you learned to love.
In Lost.
Remember Hurley?
You know, you were real good number 2.
Oh, well, now he's solving time-traveling mysteries on the show Alcatraz. Prisoners are returning from the past, and Hurley needs to track them down in any way besides on foot. Remember his character from Alcatraz? He was fat and looked like Hurley, so I love that product.
Cancel.
But do you remember when John Locke was the owner of a spooky, mysterious hotel? He's bald just like John Locke, too. I remember this now.
Oh my god! Oh jeez, oh my god!
Cancel.
Remember Juliet? Remember Juliet?
Can I help you?
It's okay. I'm a cop.
Maybe you should read the machine its rights.
That's funny.
Can I tell you a secret?
Please.
If you unplug it, and then you plug it back in again, the candy just drops right down.
Is that right?
Yes, and it's technically legal.
Remember when Juliet warded off a mysterious alien invasion? Oh no, never mind, that got
Cancelled.
So maybe let's do another mysterious alien invasion show, but this time it's Juliet's boyfriend. Ooh, mama, yes, please. More Daddy Sawyer come to solve those alien crimes.
Cancel.
Remember Flash Forward? This one is starring Penny and Charlie from Lost, and if that wasn't enough, the entire premise of the show is a contrivance lifted directly from season 4 of Lost itself, where we saw flash forwards. It's 2 whole things from Lost. It's a package deal.
Give us your eyes.
Then there was fucking Person of Interest starring Bug Eyes Linus again, and oh yeah, Jesus Christ. Remember Jesus Christ from Lost?
I suppose everyone feels that he's the hero in his own story, but there are no heroes, no villains, just people doing the best they can. There is good and bad in all of us, but this action, saving lives, it is a pure good.
Can't afford a cast member from Lost, even if it's the guy who played Xerxes in 300? Just make a fucking show anyway, who cares? I mean, we got La Brea on NBC right now, where a bunch of good-looking people fall into a newly formed asshole in Los Angeles to emerge in an alternate universe full of bizarre creatures. And everybody's white and gorgeous. Lost already did. Beautiful white people in peril. And if there are any minorities, they were evil. What all these cursed, canceled, late-phase abortions have in common is that their creators all wanted to recapture the magic of Lost, but didn't want to do the heavy lifting to create something with emotional resonance. So instead, we're left with flashy, hollow, emaciated versions of Lost with copy and pasted actors and ideas meant to gaslight the average Fast and Furious fan into thinking that they are watching something that does not suck.
Hey, you okay? Do you know where we are?
Do I know?
Hey! Kid's high as a cat.
Oh, you are incredibly perceptive. And yes, as a matter of fact, I do have some theories. Hey, I'm Scott, by the way.
You know the things kill your brain cells, right?
Yeah, and my doctor says it'll help with my anxiety, so it's a trade-off. Look, the point is, if we're looking at this logically, we should be inside the Earth. But clearly, something else is going on.
Clearly.
I mean, come on, none of this makes any sense. Like, why are all of these cars destroyed, but we're all fine?
You think I know the answer to that?
I don't know. Maybe we're just in an episode of Lost.
I don't know. Maybe we're just in an episode of Lost.
Turns out you have to understand the heart of something before you copy its skin suit. But
with a more of a mental disability, a learning disability, I did a lot of research. Spent time with this lovely woman who had a facility in Los Angeles and took care of these kids, and I did acting workshops with them, which was amazing. And what I understood and then went back to night with was that, you know, children and young adults who suffer from some learning disability are so sweet. They haven't become hardened like we have. They don't comprehend it enough. It's just like having a very rational discussion with a child.
The creators of these mega turd nuggets simply exposed their own hubris and gross misunderstanding of what made Lost good in the first place. The characters. And as much as I hate to say it, even though I do love Lost's sparse lore, the mystery box itself in the show never truly mattered. They were never going to answer any of these questions properly and satisfyingly, and they just used them to trick you into watching something again and again and again. Now, with the second season of From in full swing, the producers of Lost once again mean to pull the wool over your eyes, except this time the characters suck, the mystery sucks, everything sucks, fuck you. From is like Lost because the title has 4 letters, except this time it's a preposition, whereas Lost is a verb. Not only do we have a producer from Lost here, but thankfully somebody released this guy from his career cryogenic freeze to remind everyone of their former favorite show. And they picked the least annoying character too, so yay!
Whoa! I'm not going back. Whoa! I'm coming for Whoa! I'm not going back without I'm coming for Whoa! I'm not leaving without you. Say his name again. Yes, my boy. My boy. Don't you ever say his name.
From, like the rest of the LKEU, is like cheating off of someone's homework, but the person whose homework you're copying rides the tiny bus to school.
You know why I pulled you over?
Because I was speeding?
No, because you're black.
From, much like Lost, is about a spooky and mysterious place that no one can seem to leave. People come from all walks of life, like a fat lady, a black kid with Asperger's, the bisexual dude from Greta Van Fleet, Glenn from The Walking Dead, and cross-dresser Romeo and Juliet, just like Lost. There are so many mystery boxes raining down here that it's like an Amazon Prime Day or the Chinese holiday,
光棍节,
where lonely suicidal men in China get presents every November for being alone. We got monsters in the surrounding forest with their own specific rules, just like in The Village. We got mysterious tunnels and creepy orphans, just like in the US's continuing border crisis. And we also have a classic trope of the knockoff extended universe, creepy unexplained glyphs. Remember all the hieroglyphics that meant absolutely nothing in Lost, but convinced the show's audience that there is a richer mythology afoot? There wasn't. There kinda wasn't. Remember the secret glyphs in the cave from Terra Nova? Because fucking dinosaurs and time travel just wasn't enough? Remember the secret glyphs in Fringe and all the ball guys, they talk to each other with the Fringe words? Remember all the Arabesh in Star Wars? Remember all the Arabesh in Star Wars? They put these things into a piece of media to make fans clamor, demanding the audience to pull their decoder rings out of their boxes of Mr. T cereal and shove them into their fucking eye holes as they wait for next week's episode. But if your show is a lifeless, soulless, pitch-black asshole of interdimensional trash, nobody's gonna care about the little dangly thing covered in Chinese that you hang on your door to ward off the monsters.
So it's easy to see exactly why they would call these things that they're hanging on their doors talismans, for lack of a better term. So people claim that talismans have magical properties, but magic is nothing but science that has been undiscovered yet. Science that you cannot explain. And what they can explain is why these talismans keep the people that try to take them at night at bay.
When it comes to mystery boxes, From is like the pack and ship center at the North Pole. We get a mysterious town that exists in a vacuum that no one can leave. We got creatures from I Am Legend who look like they got fucked right in their face. We got a spooky set of underground tunnels like Harriet Tubman's Haunted Mansion. We got these creepy cancer kids running around covered in goop. We got glyphs and totems and spooky underground passages that are connected to a tree that leads to a sickly old man who is chained to the wall and whose body is full of worms.
And stop the damn bus.
And we have about as many answers to these mysteries as we did when we started. None. But Dan, you may be asking, there's been like 15 hours of the show. What is it about if not for the lore? It's about survival, Carl.
Previously on From.
From is the kind of dour mope making that only a connoisseur of outright hating The Walking Dead can admire. Other than cribbing its mystery box formula from the rest of the LKEU handbook, From equally owes its intellectual property to the team, and I do mean team because the show's probably had 700 writers by now and 15 showrunners, who created The Walking Dead. Much like with The Quest for Carl, From does away with the flashbacks that so well informed the best of the LKEU and Lost in favor of The Walking Dead's grab bag of post-apocalypse tropes, from pointless fetch quests to hopelessly drab speeches about how we all gotta get along to survive.
Doing something. I'm doing stuff, Lori. Thanks. I'm keeping this group together, alive.
I couldn't sacrifice one of us for the greater good because we are the greater good.
We're all gonna have the time to talk, okay? Answer all your questions. Just know that we are all in this thing together.
We can all live together. There's enough room for all of us.
But if we can't live together, we're gonna die alone. And the only way to get through this is together.
Everyone who's made it this far, we've all done the worst kinds of things just to stay alive. But those who use and take and kill,
to carve out the world and make it theirs alone, we end them.
You might be asking yourself, how does a show that wastes its entire runtime on character conversations not reveal anything about the characters?
You doing all right?
That's a pretty hard question to answer right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about you? Is that really...
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
You should probably get back out there.
Because the conversations aren't much more than filler. I mean, we don't know who these people are any better than we did almost 15 hours of content ago. It's easy to sit around basically two-shot interviewing your characters about how shitty their post-apocalyptic snafu is, or creating little parasocial problems to waste time for your characters to solve. Like, don't take my stuff, and you can't take my stuff because it's me. This plotline most closely resembles the episode where Sawyer holds all of the stuff that he found in the plane wreck, including his cute little glasses. But ultimately what we remember about Sawyer is his colorful past, his multiple shots at redemption, his connection to the other survivors, and his tenacity to protect those who he loved. We don't sit around reminiscing about the time when he wouldn't let Shannon have her inhaler. She's a 10, but she has the disease of a Hebrew school dropout. She's normal, just like us. And it's this kind of baseless and boring filler that fails the show time and again. Because while we should be wondering why there's a spooky tunnel in a tree or why Michael has worms in his blood, instead we're busy having drama over my stuff and conversations about how fucking sad everyone is. Even though that won't reveal anything about anyone because of course they're sad. We didn't need that explained. Most people would be sad about being permanently stuck in a show on EPIX, I mean a town from hell. Just take episode 4 from season 2, even though pretty much any of them will do. The show is like bobbing for moldy apples. But take episode 4 from season 2, for example. This thing is an outright shitfire from Jump Street, stretching out every needless plotline and every ham-fisted character interaction to a point where we've run out of two-shot character conversations with living people, so Michael just starts talking to dead people.
I gotta say, your options don't look great.
This ain't real. You're not here.
You want to talk about what can and can't be real? That's the part you want to focus on?
So I guess Forbes has been covering this shit show to some degree. I don't know why. And this past episode, they referred to it as the Eye of the Storm. This is their review. It is pretty much a living oxymoron. Up top we got praise for the terrific moves of season 2, and then the first line of the fucking review itself is guess what, nothing happened this week. So this episode has about 5 separate plot lines, all which gave me AIDS. Remember Father Kotri, a guy who we knew next to nothing about when he died? Now he's back and talking to Boyd about sad stuff. Get out your tissues, boys, it's crying time.
All this was your fucking idea.
Oh, come on, Boyd. Really? It's poor form to blame the dead.
We get a long-winded theoretical argument between Glenn from The Walking Dead and Michael about the morality of putting people in a punishment box, which is somewhat inhumane, sure, but the girl in question went on a psycho spree last season and got Glenn's Alzheimer-ridden father to lose about 30 pounds of meat. Can we punish someone for literally being a murderer?
She's going in the fucking box.
Kenny?
She killed my dad. They tore him to pieces, and you knew. You fucking knew.
Kenny, please, Kenny.
You watch your own fucking six.
Mission failed. We'll get them next time.
Tabitha and Jim have a conversation finally too, and these are two characters who've experienced the most lore-expanding events. Tabitha took the Underground Railroad with a pedophile and found all sorts of creepy kids and dens where the monsters sleep. Jim heard a voice on the radio that seems to suggest, much like in 20 instances throughout Lost, that someone is watching them. The radio plotline was like this show's transceiver, A MacGuffin for the entire cast to search for that turns out to be a symbol of the futility of their situation. They did it in Lost, let's do it again. But after experiencing all of this mayhem across the course of 15 episodes now, the best these characters can do is just tell each other stuff that we already know.
Did you know Christy's fiance was on that bus?
What?
Yeah. And what you said about the wires not being connected, that's not possible.
No, I'm telling you.
No, it's not that. I know. I believe you. It's just that there is no way.
It's like the brain-dead inverse of dramatic irony, and it's time-filling horseshit. Seemingly the only character who has any interest in exploring the actual fucking mysteries of this show is this guy, and he's so toxically annoying that it almost seems like he's meant to drive us away from the mystery boxes.
What's wrong with you?
Gee, I don't know. I mean, maybe I just spent the last week thinking we might actually get out of this shit box, only to see our entire plan come crashing down around us. Literally.
So, we try again.
Yeah. We'll get right on that, kid.
And then there's the whole Boyd in a tree situation. This is like the most half-assed attempt at the hatch reveal from Lost I've ever seen, as Boyd descends into a magical tree in the finale of Season 1. But, shockingly, this tree hatch brings up more questions than answers, just like in another show.
How long have
Every question I answer will simply lead to another question. You should rest.
But whereas the reveal from Lost was done from a place of utter genius, From's tree adventure feels like it was written by a first grader. The amazing thing about the hatch reveal is that we think we are being let in on the secrets of the authority of the island, but instead the hatch itself has its own prisoner caught in the island's psychosocial web. Desmond's reveal is incredible for so many reasons, most notably of which is the realization that there is electricity, music, lights, a bed, and a fucking blender on an island, where these shit-sippers have been drinking coconut piss and rationing peanut butter for months. Then there's the absolutely crushing realization that even with these technological freedoms, Desmond is as much a prisoner or more than the castaways are themselves. To be fair, From attempts to have some sort of greater duality, but with hilariously botched results. After climbing out of a secret chimney tunnel, Boyd doesn't find his freedom, but instead finds another prisoner, kinda like they did with old Des. This dude is out here looking like Pai Mei with tuberculosis, and his body is filled with magic worms. He bites Michael and gives him the clap, and instead of just getting anything even close to answers, Michael wanders out of the medieval dungeon and just kinda ends up back in town again. Then he doesn't tell anyone about his experience because that would mean we would have to discuss these insanities. Instead, they take one of the worst pages out of the Lost Handbook by having Boyd just say nothing to anyone because secrets are fucking cool.
Where is Sarah? I don't know. She said she was gonna be right behind me.
So do you think she's alive?
I don't know.
Okay, look, I need you to really just take me through this, okay? Look, you went through a tree, and then what?
Then I was back here.
How?
I got lucky. I found my way.
No, look, if you don't want to tell me, just say that you don't want to tell me.
Hey.
No, Dad, you said that you were going to find answers. You said you were going to go out there and find answers or find a way home. That's what you said, and now we're exactly where we fucking started.
Whoa.
And I can't even believe I'm fucking saying this, but when it comes to endless mopery, at least The Walking Dead had a reason for the season. The world is fucked forever. No options left here, folks. Nothing to really unwrap or mystery boxes to uncover, because just like in the 4,000 plus pages of the Walking Dead comic book series, the mystery as to why the outbreak started and what happened to the rest of the world is not the main focus here. That is the drama here. A populace of survivors simply dealing with the ramifications of their shattered world. No reason to spend time mystery busting unless the mystery is where everybody poops in the prison. So that leaves room for the characters to just talk about their feelings, because feelings are all we have left. Sure, that show overkilled this trope almost immediately, but at least it made a lick of fucking sense. In From, we have the same time-spilling diversion tactics, but there's also real problems and real mysteries here that everyone is just ignoring, because it's easier to sit around and restate the show's mysteries instead of attempting to explain or solve them.
Tell me what happened out there?
Whoa! So where does this leave us? In the case of From, we're left with very little answers. We don't know what the town is, we don't know what the monsters are, we don't know what the creepy kids are, we don't know what the spooky glyphs are, we don't know what any of these people were like before they landed here, we don't know anything about even our main protagonist other than vague allusions to his military service, and we don't know why this woman who's been in this spooky town with zero resources for several years is still so fat. And we probably won't, because From is going to get canceled before any of these answers are answered. I'd eat my own shoe if it doesn't turn out to be the case. And once again, a half-cocked, half-brained attempt at copying Lost has crashed and burned into a fire pit of unanswered nonsense.
Did you mean to do that? Yeah.
My guess is that we're dealing with an AI/virtual reality situation here, because that's the only way they could even remotely answer all the disparate questions that they've dreamed up. But who knows, the answer might be much more dumb and much more senseless than we could have ever imagined. After all this bashing of the LKEU and From is said and done, you may think that the Raised Earth approach retroactively makes Lost look like shit. After all, how could Lost be the greatest TV show of all time if it spawned nothing but hardcore trash as its creative offspring? Before we go, let's at least look at the silver lining here. Rising like a dark phoenix above the LKEU is a rare and beautiful thing, but it surely is not impossible. These are shows that ran with the mystery vibe of Lost, and while some of them were cancelled, they were surely fantastic while they were on. Surface on NBC was a great show that followed the gorgeous and talented Lake Bell as she attempted to uncover a conspiracy and mystery surrounding the appearance of sea monsters around the world. Great show, wish it didn't get cancelled, but it's absolutely worth a ride. Fringe is of course the sister series of Lost, starring everyone from the fantastic late actor Lance Reddick to even Desmond of Lost fame. Thankfully, if you can make it through one of the most hilariously repetitive shows ever made, there's a lot to love with Fringe, and it's at least better than utter dreck like From. Helix was a nice mix of Lost and The Thing, mixing up rich mythology with frozen paranoia. Absolutely great first season, worth every minute of your time, and let's just pretend like the second season never happened, okay? Thank you. My favorite show from the Lost knockoff boom was surely Invasion, a one-season body snatchers parable with nice mythological answers, a compelling setting, great characters, a deepening mystery, and canceled, but God, still truly worth the ride. Besides that, the best way to get your fill of positive post-Lost content is to follow the one person who the Lost fanbase wanted to kill the most, Damon Lindelof. Because this MFer went out there with his fingers up, showing the world how the true Mystery King operates. Prometheus, The Leftovers, and Watchmen all received the Damon Lindelof Mystery Bundle. But these shows and movies offered so much in the way of new ideas and great characters that it was easier to forgive the crimes of unanswered questions. That is how Damon Lindelof perfected his formula. Not by answering his mysteries, but by running from them, professionally. No one embodies and carries forward the spirit of Lost in all of its glory better than the work of Damon Lindelof, who took a quaint idea from J.J. Abrams and turned it into one of the most perplexing, rich, and beautiful stories ever brought to television. And that's it, people. That's From in a nutshell, and the LKEU in brief. I'm sure there are plenty of shows and movies that I'm missing from this period of time. Feel free to harass me in the comments about it. The influence of Lost can still be felt and seen in so much of the mystery-based media that exists today. But as long as soft-brain writers in Hollywood keep putting the cart before the horse, we'll continue to have as many Lost knockoffs as we have horrific post-Lost Matthew Fox projects. Big fucking yikes. For the Movie Blue Show, I am Dan Lyons, and we will see you next time. Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in to my first full episode of the Movie Blues Show. If you liked what you saw here, then make sure to check out the Movie Blues podcast, of course, on Spotify and iTunes, but also check out our mini-series on Lost, where I got to show my co-host, who had never seen Lost, the entire series. Check that out. It's called Lost Boys. The link will be in the description thingy, and we're all good. We'll see you later. We'll catch you next time. Bye.